Short story bingo. Short story bingo. Short story bingo. Short story bingo. Sometimes they're funny and sometimes they're sad. Most of the time they're funny because I hate to be sad. Short story bingo. Short story bingo. Short story bingo. Short story bingo. But don't take my word for it. Spare fingers. Cheers.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Short Story Bingo, Our Stories, episode 16. I am Nate Chacon III. If this is your first time, welcome. If it's not, the retention program is working. What I do on this podcast is on this version of the podcast at least, I talk to friends or folks that I have been following, and that's my dryer fucking going around. But talk to friends or those that I'm following, and we share stories about, either we first met, or I learn more about them. So by the end, we might be friends. So welcome to Our Stories. Thank you so much for the comments last on episode 15 with Chris Holyfield from I Am Salt Lake podcast. He dropped a bomb of some news on us, and just very excited for him and his new path with the new podcast take that he's doing. And we were the first podcast that he released that on, even though it got released later as far as the news is concerned. So good luck to Chris and his new endeavors. Of course, still on the same RSS feed. So go to utahwrapper.com to receive 20% off all merch that is on the website by using code SSB. This is the merch I'm talking about. This is Abraham Lincoln, and this is Bio. So that says Lincoln Bio. So that makes, all right. Yeah, it's pretty fucking smooth, dude.
Yeah.
And that's the sponsor, fucking me right now. So that's how we're working it. With that in tow, man, we're on a roll here, and couldn't be more excited. Right now, we are recording 4 days removed from the warm-up 3, which was the rap battle event that we had for Mike Masters, the battle rap league that I do out here. Had Marv 1, Disaster. If any of these names ring a bell to my regular listeners, that would surprise me. But it was an incredible time, and still kind of on a victory lap from that. But want to say thank you to Salt Lake community and continuing to support hip hop in that fashion, man. It's a niche in hip hop, not just in the element of MCing, but just like in hip hop in general. Like that, like battle rap is just a whole nother animal. But yeah, we had that. And without further ado, I have a very good friend of mine for episode 16. We've known each other for quite some time, and I'm very, very excited to actually dive into it. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 16, Our Stories, Will Wonder, y'all.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
I'm back on the feed. I was here when we were reading stories, the original interpretation of Short Story Bingo. So thank you.
And we're going to get back to that. I've just been doing these a lot,
Yeah, it's great.
These are fun, but yeah, that's the first one we did, and I read the N-word off.
You sure did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, I honestly, never again, you know? I read I've read other books. I've read other books after that, and I just said, I'm going to pass on that. Like James Baldwin, I read some excerpts from his book, and it's all over, and I was like, I'm good on that.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I'm gonna be good.
It's a hard pass.
It is. It's a hard pass and a hard word.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. How you been?
Man, I've been good. I've been busy, you know, have the podcast going. I'm finishing school April 28th. I'll be done with school.
Congratulations.
Finally, thank you. Other than that, just trying to stay somewhat fit, raise my son, have a family life. It's great, man.
Yeah.
Work, you know what I mean?
All that. That's great. Okay. Well, you know the format of this.
Yeah.
And so I honestly don't remember the first time I met you.
I don't either, because it had to have been in Magna at some point, because we had similar circles. I was trying to think about this today. The first time I remember having a conversation with you was 07-ish, maybe 08. I had put on a show at the Avalon Theater. It was the first hip hop show I put on. Prior to that, I had been DJing, and my DJ company I had at the time, MAG Entertainment, rest in peace.
Yo, what's up? What up, MAG?
Yeah. We put on that show at the Avalon. It was called How the Lake Was Won.
Okay, I don't know if
MC Anyone was on it. Adverse, Lump Sum, Jody Joe and his boys.
Hell yeah.
I'm forgetting someone. Lost Tribe was supposed to be on it. They didn't show up. Short still owes me $20.
I was going to say, I don't like how you pointed that last part out. But.
And then Steady Roc was on it. But this is before me and Steady were a group.
Okay.
They went by the starting lineup. And so, anyways, had done that show. And you and, I don't remember the guy's name you were with at the time, D. Taylor maybe? D. Taylor,
okay.
Does that sound about right?
Yep.
So I went down to talk to you, and you were like, hey, we should start doing shows together or put on some shows, and that was the first conversation I remember having. But again, we both grew up in Magna, so we had to have, seen each other. Or, I was friends with Rudy in high school, so there's got to be prior to that. But that's the first conversation I remember us having.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, oh my God, the first time, first off, that makes sense. And shout out to everyone that you just mentioned
D Strong was another one.
D Strong. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names that you just mentioned that are mainstays, in our local scene at that time. I'm going to go on a tangent really quick and then circle back. But I was thinking the other day that the reason why I'm going to go on the tangent is because you just mentioned all those names, and at the time I was the young kid, and rocking like with guys like that, and they were like the OGs or whatever,
right?
And so I still have that mindset. I feel younger than I am, I guess, but so I deal with like being looked at as the OG now, like, and I don't, because I've always been the youngest or one of the youngest, So
right.
Anyway, that's a quick tangent. The first time that I remember, the most vivid memory I remember is you guys performing at Urban Lounge. You and Steady performing at Urban Lounge, and like that had to be, or like one that jumps out a lot. Obviously, working together on your album,
right?
And was incredible. And mixtape, excuse me, both of them, was incredible. So I think the ultimate point is from my perspective that from jump, I felt like we were, like I was good with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then of course put into place that we're both from Magna.
Right.
And that just, I don't know. I think maybe if like people from small towns maybe have it a little bit more than like if you're from LA. I can't confirm that because I'm not from LA. I just think like small towns might have a little bit more of a loose camaraderie more than maybe than like from like bigger cities, because then you like, if we were both like, oh, I'm from LA, it turns into like, well, which part?
Yeah.
Rather than I'm from Magna. Okay, well,
yeah,
I'm fucking from there too.
Yeah. Between 7200 West and 90th. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, you were Tooele. No, okay. Well, that's totally different. Yeah. So, 4 more teeth missing. So that time though. So okay. So that is something that. Outside of that point, I wanted to also touch on how much we both were like running in the same lanes. And like, I think one of the questions that I've been actually dying to ask you this for quite some time is when you and Steady decided, okay, cool, we're doing the group, and they were called the Strangerz, for those that don't know. And it's so funny that, because you bring this up all the time, but their album Hood is on Dat Piff, or their mixtape Hood Is it Hood?
The album Hood is on Dat Piff.
Oh, the album
and
Hood.
the mixtape was On Our Way to the Hood.
On Our Way to the
And
Cave.
Hood was Honoring Our Own Destiny. Was what that.
And it's on Dat Piff. Okay.
Yeah, Dat Piff.
And dude.
I mean, that was the era. You know what I mean?
No, dude, it still is there. The point is, okay. So when you guys decided to do that, cool. I want to know, and I don't think we've ever talked about this, but why even start doing shows and shit? I know you were doing stuff like in high school, but why? I guess why that lane?
It's interesting because I mean, I've always loved hip hop. I always DJ'd, right? Since I was 16. There we go. That's what this means.
Holy shit!
We were trying to figure that out. Yeah. So DJing since I was 16, and it's interesting, man, because one of my best friends, I'm Chacon, Robert Chacon. He comes on my podcast a lot, and we talk football. His cousin had married Steady. And I didn't know Steady one way or the other. And I had another friend who ended up Mike Castillo. It's all Magna stuff if people know these names. His cousins was Steady
We're
as
going to
well.
bleep him out, but
Yeah. Fuck him. Just kidding.
it's funny, actually, you bring up Mike Castillo. We're going to...
Yeah, here he is. He's a good guy. But anyways, and me and Steady had met one night, and we were just playing cards and bullshitting and chopping it up, and like we had a very similar love for hip hop and a knowledge of it. Like, just we talked for hours about it. And he's like, "Yeah, I rap, I make beats." I was like, "Okay," you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And then when I actually heard him, I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty nice. You're good." But we became close friends, like really, really tight. We did a lot of we would go to different states together, just kind of kick it. And when I put on that show, he wanted to perform, him and KMP. And I was like, well, I'll just obviously DJ for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we were DJing, or I was DJing, and we would practice because he wanted to be on point, because he knew that anyone was on it. Adverse put on I'm sure he still does, an amazing show.
He's incredible.
Lump Sum, like guys that really put on shows. And he didn't want to just kind of show up and be like, sounding stupid. So anyways, I learned all of his lyrics while we were practicing because that's just like, I listen to so much music, you know what I mean? From a child till now, I remember lyrics that it's useless information unless there's like a hip hop Jeopardy at some point. But,
right.
But anyways, I
work on that.
Yeah. Anyways, I learned his lyrics. And so I would back him up in the vocals.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
So like
I
when
see where
he's
this
like
is
starting to, when he was rapping, he needed to catch his breath or whatever, I would back him up with whatever word or fill in the word as a hype man because for whatever reason on that show, KMP didn't end up doing it with us. And then he was like, we should start a group and just kind of mess around. I was like, yeah, we should. And from that point on, my dad had given me all of his vinyls. I have still have them 400 plus vinyls, everything from rock to pop to fucking R&B, funk, everything. And so we started just digging through my own records and making beats. That's how we got My City. Like a ton of records was just off of us just hanging out and doing that.
Wow.
Because to be honest, at the time, neither one of us had a decent amount of money, but and we didn't have kids, so we had time to just kick it and do that. So then we started writing the songs together. We put out a little EP, and my boy Daniel, shout out to Daniel, who actually runs Jazz Nation now.
What up, Daniel?
He was working with a lot of local promoters and people that would put on shows here. And he was like, hey, you guys we did 3 or 4 local, really small shows. Like Lump Sum put us on one, Anyone put us on one. And he's like, do you guys want to try to open up for touring acts? We're like, fuck yeah, we do.
Yeah, of
you
course.
Know what I mean?
Fucking no.
Yeah. So we had just started working on our music. Our first little EP that we didn't even have a name for it. We just had the skull on the front of the CD at the time that I would print at the house. Brisk recorded those tracks with me, Steady, and KMP. And we just started doing shows constantly, whether it be local stuff, whether it be for touring. Our first big show, we opened up for Guru at Urban Lounge.
Jesus.
And a lot of the promoters started messing with us because we would sell tickets, a lot of tickets. And they would they would kick us some money from it, but they wanted to have us back because we would bring people to these shows. So Guru from Gangstar, that went to like Nappy Roots, to Jedi Mind Tricks, to D12, Bone Thugs, The Game, Nas. Like, I know I'm missing others, but we fell in love with it, you know? And so then we started doing our mixtape, and you would, you know, we'd reached out to you to be like, are you down if, are you cool if we record? Are you cool to record our mixtape? And you were like, of course. So that was a lot of fun. Then we just jumped right into the album after that. But all the while we were still doing shows. And yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. But I think we, as weird as it may sound, I think we did too much too fast, and we kind of got burnt out. Because there, I mean, you remember how it was back in those days. There was a show every week, sometimes multiple.
Yeah.
And we would be on 2 of them sometimes. And then it was just kind of like, this is cool, but fuck, I'm tired.
I'm fucking 24 and tired.
Exactly.
I'm tired as shit, man. Fuck.
So yeah, we stopped doing it, but that's how we got into it. Just a mutual love for hip hop. We became really good friends quickly, you know, and we just played off of each other so well. We had similar mindsets and the way that we would write the lyrics, come up with the hooks or sample.
Okay. Obviously, there's so much I can resonate with there. I want to know why, like, where was your, did you envision fucking being part of a group or some shit, or was you just trying to DJ? That was the thing.
No, I was just DJing, and like I had always just planned on DJing.
Okay, so stop there.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. Okay. When he asked you, cool, let's do it. Then my next question, because this is so intriguing to me, for anyone, but when he asked that, like, did you feel any pressure or doubt that you're like, okay?
No, not at all. I was more so excited.
Okay.
Because that, how
you weren't rapping.
No.
So yeah, so that was so easy for you.
Because I already knew how to do the cuts. I already knew how to DJ, and I could back him up. You know what I mean? And I took a part of like some of the scheduling of these shows as well. Just letting him know, hey, this is what we got this time. So I kind of did stuff on the back end as well.
Yeah.
But I would help him write at times. His pen was so good though, where he might ask me like a couple scenarios and say, what do you think sounds best? But a lot of times, man, he was just really good with it.
Well, so naturally after that, even during that time, you were still just doing some, we were doing like weddings and shit still, and like doing all your other stuff. Like,
I was still DJing. I would do the weddings. I would do the corporate events, and I wasn't really that early. I wasn't doing a ton of clubs or bars yet. Like I would do like a one-off, like once a month, but I didn't have anything like locked down.
Okay. So you mentioned a lot of big acts that you opened up for. Have you opened up for said different acts out of state?
Everything was here.
Everything's been here. Okay.
We never left. Yeah.
You've not ever performed in another state. That's a whole different feeling. Okay.
Yeah.
So with that, when you said that you were burnt out, do you think that you both left? This might be a general question, or not a general question, but a question surrounding like a feeling. Do you think that you guys left something on the table, or did you feel that you guys were going to come back to it? Was it initially intended to be a hiatus, and then like, yeah, let's regroup in a couple weeks, and then that 2 weeks turned into? Walk me through that.
No, it was more so we just kind of, okay, so there was never a plan to get back together and make music. We're still, I mean, I see him all the time and we talk all the time, but there wasn't a plan to get back together and make music again. We did some stuff for Brisk and then thought about making music again, but it's just our lives kind of went in different busier directions, you know, him having his kids. He went back to school years ago and then finished. I went back to school. So it was like we were just both busy in other things. But we still but we talk about, you know, doing songs from time to time, because he dusted off the MPC about 8 months ago. and started making beats again. So.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So it was.
I do feel like we left something on the table for sure.
That's okay.
Because I look at like everything you've done. I look at, and I look at where Emerson is. Obviously, that's a different lane. But those, you guys, Emerson, we were doing shows with all of you. You know what I mean? And constantly working with you guys. So it's like, yeah, there may have been something left on the table. And we always got great feedback from the touring acts too. Like Jedi Mind Trick showed us a ton of love. Be Real showed us a ton of love. Nipsey Hussle. But it's like, I just wish I would have had a clearer head then to be like, well, we don't have to do this every day.
Yeah.
We can take a week off or 2 weeks and come back. But our focus was always like, okay, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to go. We got to do this show here. And we didn't turn down shows a lot of times.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I feel like you guys were only around for a very short amount of time.
Yeah. Well, in the grand scheme of things, 2008 to shortly, like 2010, our album came out. We did some stuff into 2011, and then
but some, not a lot. Mm-mm. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It was like a year and a half.
Yeah, of constant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I wanted to it's important for me to put a time frame around it to give like someone listening who doesn't know you an idea of like how much work you put in let's just say 18 to 20 months of time.
Yeah.
And how stressful that could be. And the reason, and another reason why I bring that up is because it was kind of it was confusing for me, because
everybody.
Yeah, I was like, the fuck, you guys.
Yeah.
We got a show next week, yeah? Like, what the fuck? Like, are you guys going to be on it?
We put so much time into it, not just the shows, not just recording, but writing and really, really practicing our sets for those shows. Like if we had a show, just as an example, say, okay, we're opening up for so-and-so at Saltaire. We have 3 weeks. Okay, well, number one, we're selling tickets like crazy. And then we're practicing 3 to 4 times a night because we don't want to go out there and look like some local acts that just go up and they're like, just sound stupid. Because that, there was a lot of them at that time that would be put on the shows, but they never stayed consistent, but they were awful. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't want to be that. So we may not have been out all the time, but we were constantly working on it.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to start there because I think it's important. It was very important for me to understand why it all even happened because you and I have not really ever talked about it in depth. And I respected, I still do, but I respected so much of what you guys were doing at that time. Magna, we're all we got. So like in my head, I was just like, man, like if they're killing it, I'm killing it. You know, if I'm, this is the type of shit that we got coming out of here. Even though it's fucking small ass town, dude. It's like fucking, it's kind of weird it's not weird. It's just, I don't want to overindulge on just a small place because for me personally, like my more formidable years, I didn't actually grow up in Magna. I grew up in Salt Lake. Like I grew up in like Rose Park off of 3rd North when I was in high school. Like I went to Judge and like I didn't hang out in Magna.
Right.
Well,
that's probably why I didn't see you at a younger age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I didn't hang out in Magna at all.
Yeah. That's all where I moved out of Magna for 2 years in junior high school and lived in West Valley, and then we moved back.
I was in Magna. I was off 72, which is like the border between Magna and West Valley. But even still, like I wasn't hanging out in Magna. Like,
I grew up all up and down 8,000. Like me and my mom moved all the time, but it was always on 8,000.
Really?
Yeah, on 80th West. I lived in like 6 spots on 80th.
Fucking just live there. Fucking.
Yeah.
Okay, so you and I want to segue. The reason why I started with the music piece because I made an album 2 years ago, 2.5 years, 3 years this year.
It was great.
while I was making it though, thank you. While I was making it, you and I had a candid conversation, and it was tongue in cheek to some degree, but there was in jest, there is always a little bit of truth, right? And and you were like, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you were like, don't ever put shit out ever in your life again. It's what you said to me. I think that is verbatim is what you said to me. No, I'm just joking. No, you're not joking. No, you're not joking. That is what I said. No, but for real, you were like, to some degree, you were just saying like, make sure it's worth it, or like, do you think, are you sure? Without saying it.
Like if you're gonna put it out, put your best foot. Make sure.
Make
sure
because I haven't done it.
Sure
I hadn't released really an official project since that first mixtape back in like 2010 or 11 or some shit. And that meant a lot to me when you had said that. Like in my, I don't know if you know this. I definitely have not told you. But it was like, it's something that I honestly still think about fucking today while making music. Is like, is Doug gonna, or are you gonna shit on it? Are you like? And so after that album released, and you were like, damn, dude, like you did your fucking thing. I mean, you said a little bit more for sure, but I was like, damn, fuck, I think I did it. I think I'm back to rapping again, but I wanted to say to you, thank you for giving me that insecurity to fucking try to just ball out on songs, dude, because it is important. I mean, after such a long time, like it felt like, I mean, I could rap, but it was like putting concepts together and really making songs. I had a lot of doubt, a lot of doubt. So what would you say to any creative, because you were in this spot yourself, to any creative outside of just to do it, that is stuck in a 6-month slump, a year slump? Maybe they've been waiting their whole life and they should obviously just do it, but what would you say to someone to give them maybe an extra boost that it is the right time, or whatever the case?
Right. So I think, that's a big question. Like going back to what I had said to you, I just knew how good you could be, and I didn't want you to put out an album if it wasn't the best shit you could put out. Because again, going back from, you see yourself as the younger guy still, but you're honestly one of the OGs doing it. And if you're going to put out a bad album, can you imagine? Like, people are going to be like, what? Like, I know him. He does all of this, and he's been in the scene for years, but this is the work he puts out. So that's kind of where I felt. And I wanted to be proud of you as a friend too, but I'm never going to just gas somebody up and bullshit them if it's not good. Or if I don't like it. Good is all relative but I loved your album. So if someone's stuck, I would ask them, like, do you really want it? Do you love it? Then just keep going. I mean, that's as simple as I can put it. And also, sometimes you have to work through things. Coming out of like writer's block, coming out of whatever it may be, just work your way out of it and know that at some point you'll get to where you want to be. Stay consistent with it. You talk about me giving you that advice, not put out bullshit. I owe you the same thing. And I've told you this. I wanted to start a podcast for years, right? Since I stopped doing music, I was DJing. Pandemic hits. I'm not DJing anywhere. I have my son as well. I'm at home. A lot of time just kind of while he's sleeping, just being like, what am I doing? I listened to you on the Lake Talk 801 podcast. Shout out to those guys. And you had said, if you want to do something, do it. Like, don't overthink things. Put it out to the universe. And if you need to change it up, great. but you're never going to get to that point if you just don't do it first. And no bullshit. I was laying it because I have to listen to podcasts to go to sleep because my wife has to have no sound minus the fucking sound machine that drives me nuts. But I listened to the podcast and I was listening to that. I listened to the whole episode. Like I was like, oh, it's 10 o'clock. I'll go lay down. I didn't go to bed till midnight. And you saying that, I was like, I'm going to do this podcast. And I mean, then I started planning. And on my birthday that year, 2020, I put out the first episode and I haven't missed an episode at all.
Damn, dude.
Every week. 100 and you know, by the time this one comes out, I'll probably be in 120 something area episodes. I just released 118, started the YouTube, getting good traction on that. And I love this. Like, it's been a really great creative outlet for me. Because again, DJing I wasn't doing it as much because of the pandemic, because of my son being born, but I missed creativity. You know what I mean? And, because of you, I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Damn.
And yeah, man, here we are. So thank you.
Dude.
We owe each other a lot. You know what I mean?
And I feel like that's too much credit, at least from your side. Like for me, yeah, for sure. But fucking, yeah, I still feel that way. That Just Do It thing happened this past, for the warm up 3 when we did the pay-per-view. With the live stream. It was 4 days. It was 4 days notice.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know me, Doug. It's going to happen. I'm going to figure it out. And we figured that out.
Yeah.
You know, there was nothing that was going to stop me. I was like,
bro, it was great.
Dude.
I was so happy you did that because I couldn't make it out.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck. And when I saw that, like, hey, $10, I'm like, $10?
Real quick. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Beans and Rice podcast. They did an incredible job, man.
Yep. Good team over there for sure.
The pay-per-view for that is still available. It'll be in the comments, and I think we're going to have it up for another three months or something like that.
If you haven't watched it, you need it.
$10.
I mean, not to mention like all the people, all the guys that are from here and women, the local people. But bro, that Marv one and Disaster shit, amazing.
Wow.
Emerson Kennedy, like. That's what's so crazy thinking about where he's started.
Yeah.
Him showing up to the shows in his fucking the tight, and I say that now and look at what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
The tightest joints ever.
And I don't like these, by
yeah,
the way.
Yeah, they're comfy though. Lululemon, you know what I mean?
I don't like that you said Lululemon either.
And his V-necks, and we were like, man, I remember Emerson. I'm like, man, Emerson's so dope, man. He's so good. And he's just a different cat. And then when you started Mike Masters and he started battling, I was like, this is good. And then it was like a rocket ship. And for him to come back and do that and the way he performed at that show, oh my God, that motherfucker's he's a son of a bitch.
Dude, that motherfucker is a shooting star, that dude. Yeah. And he's a really good guy, man.
Great guy.
Incredible person.
He could be a total like, no, I'm not coming back. I don't give a shit.
Him and I have a pretty special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great. He'll call me out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Randomly and be like, what do you? He called me a couple weeks ago, late. Hey, do you have a moment? I know you have a kid, so you're probably asleep. I'm like, yeah.
Always quick. That's the first thing. Hey, you got a second?
Yeah. He's like, what do you think Jordan was thinking in that 97 finals? And I'm like, you're going to have to expand on that, my brother. But, you know, and then we'll have and be like, all right, thank you. I'm like, I feel like he's a star. And he's calling me asking about what Jordan thought in a moment.
I don't think he's a star. I think he's a piece of shit. No. Yeah, so the pay-per-view, what I was going to get back to is, first off, shout out to Emerson Kennedy, fucking does shit. I just did it. So, like, that continues, like, to this, that's, like, something that doesn't stop. Like, I've been working out 6 days a week, like, for the past 9 weeks. I've lost 11 pounds.
Nice.
And I don't talk about it because I don't need to.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to make it happen. So we'll wake up like 4:45, 5 o'clock in the very morning, get about an hour 20 minutes of workout in. But it's like, I wanted to make that change. So
Did you just flex your pecs when you said that?
No, it was on accident.
Okay.
Dude.
Run it back and
But I
you'll
fucking
see
can,
it.
dude.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I saw it. I did.
Yeah.
What is this guy?
It is fucking.
Is this guy stunting on me? Look at that. Look at the forearms.
Dude, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Fucking Eddie Guerrero.
Dude, it is muscle memory, dude. Get the fuck out of here, Dag. It is muscle memory. Dude, my number was 45, Dag, for fucking Judge Memorial running back, Dag. Yo, I fucking, dude, no bullshit. I leg pressed almost 1,000 pounds, Dag, when I was 17.
Yeah. 48 yards, 1 touchdown his senior year.
Dude, I did too. Hey, you know what else, Dag? No, I just play it. So to go back to that though, no, it is important to. No, have you ever heard of I've mentioned him on this podcast before, Neville Goddard. Mm-hmm. Have you read his books? No. Okay, I'll send you a couple links after we're done here. But there's a couple audiobooks that I would love for you to just take a dive into. 2.5 hour books, 30 like a 40-minute book. They're very very quick, you know. Since you listen to podcasts anyway, do you listen to audiobooks?
Yeah.
Okay, so you do that. All right, great. There's everyone knows this, and I'm gonna keep saying on every podcast, by Florence Shin, is The Game of Life and How to Play It, and it changed my life.
Okay.
For the better, probably about 10 weeks ago. I mean, when I was just like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? I'm already doing well on this path of what I've intended and envisioned to do, and now it's time to like really take and harness my energy, and I've been doing that. And then Neville Goddard has a bunch of books. I can't think off the top of my head, but point is, I'm going to send you some links just so you can tap into that. Yeah. But it was important for me to ask you about or talk to you about that piece in my timeline for that album, because I didn't have a lot of confidence about doing that, and that was a piece that was a spark for me. So I wanted to tell you that. So I appreciate it, and it's
for sure.
It was. I know it was all in love. It was nothing at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, we go back far enough, and you had done so much for us, recording that album and supporting constantly. Where I would never bullshit you. You know what I mean? And I told you, DKM it's still one of my favorite songs. Like, I'll still play it.
Dude, thank you for that. Can I tell you something about DKM?
Yeah.
So what? First off, if you guys don't know, the song he's referring to is called DKM. It's me. It's an acronym for Don't Know Me, and I also fucking have a lot of acronyms. The point is, yeah, he does, and I fucking don't like it.
Minus that one.
After that song came out, I mean, when you listen to it, like I was in a really different place, you know, mentally, and I had a very difficult time listening to that. My sister loves that song, like to the degree of like 10 times in a row, still to this day, type of shit, you know. And I had lived with her about a year ago, and I was just like, man, fuck, let's just change this shit, you know, fuck, because I was just like, it sounded like a depressing song to me at that time, even though it's fucking not at all. So my whole perspective about it has changed in like the last 4 months or so. Like, it is such an uplifting song.
Yeah.
It is the last, like I don't have zero problem listening to it. I almost cried to it like fucking a month ago. Like, I was just listening to it. I was like, damn, man, I was like talking to you. Like, I was just talking to myself. Like, this is what I, like, you don't know what the fuck I've been through, you know? And running all these red lights, hunting for some insight, gun in my lap, and I know that isn't a fair fight. You know, like, you can fucking make it out the dark, man.
Yeah.
You know? And that's just the tangent I had. I hated the song. I mean, I loved it when I first dropped it, and I loved the video when it first dropped, and then it just got overplayed for me. You know?
Yeah,
Even though a lot of people...
I still listen to it. But,
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's me.
But that's, and my sister and fucking other people.
Yeah.
It's a great song. It really is. So now you're on, podcast journey. You've been on it for a good hot minute here, and almost 2 years, 120. How many weeks are in a year? 52, 53 weeks in a year.
52.
52. So a little over two years.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is a big motivating factor for you for these next like 80 episodes to up to 200? How do you measure those benchmarks for yourself? Like where you're going to start switching things up again, or like you're going to be like, hey, this is the model for the next 50. I don't know. Everyone's different.
Yeah. So like for those who don't know, on the podcast,
the Will Wonder podcast, by the way.
Pod, yeah.
I intentionally waited this long to do that because I just wanted to talk to you.
No.
Yeah.
I talk sports and music, mostly hip hop. This year I'm celebrating hip hop turning 50, so every week I'm doing something for that. But to answer your question, I wanted to wait a while and build up my audience before I did really any YouTube video stuff, because I love having conversations and listening to people have conversations. I'm the type of person that most times I generally don't consume podcasts watching them on YouTube. Listen to them while I work. And I know people do that. But when this year came, I said, okay, I want to grow my YouTube channel. And I want to be able to have interviews like this strictly for that. I'm going to have some other stuff, some specials, some shorts, like random stuff like that. And then I'm going to have the podcast every week where I'm still talking music, still talking sports, because I love basketball and football. I love them. Basketball and hip hop were my first two loves, right? 4 or 5 years old. Now going forward, there's things that I want to do, and there's different benchmarks I want to hit, but I understand that you have to stay consistent and you have to keep doing it. And again, you always have to put your best foot forward, because you really don't know who's listening or who's watching or who could come across it. So like, let's say I'm having a bad week, you know what I mean? And I'm putting out these episodes weekly, so I know I have to put out an episode. I got to find a way to put out something that people will want to listen to, regardless of what the fuck's going on with me. Or let's say NBA is slow or whatever it may be. I need to find a way to get people's ears so that they want to come back, but then also share it with others. And again, keeping that going to where, maybe, and then this is, like kind of ultimate goal type of thing. Maybe someone at the Ringer hears it. Oh, let's give him a shot. You know what I mean? Something to that effect. That's kind of the plan within the next year. Grow that YouTube. Also be able to just highlight people that I have relationships with, that are friends, or people that I think deserve to be highlighted, doing cool things for the city or whatever it may be. So that was a very long-winded answer.
Yeah, I don't like it. No, well, we are at 40 minutes. No,
time to go. Thanks for watching.
Well, no, it is. It's a great answer. I think I want to dive deeper into that though, because I'm curious to know why. So like I have separate part. This is like the Our Stories portion of a podcast, but Short Story Bingo is just me reading and like me being in a vacuum.
Yep.
And like just fucking off,
Mm-hmm.
And but reading, there's some stories that are very, that are very a lot more serious, and I don't fuck around.
Yeah.
For the difference between the video, what's the cadence? Yeah.
So the YouTube interviews, those would come out bi-weekly. So bi-weekly, where the actual podcast is weekly. Yep.
Yeah.
Weekly, and it's always going to come out weekly. Even when I was out of the country, I had shit ready to go. I came back, recorded the intro and outro, put it out. You know what I mean? I'm not going to miss.
Yeah. Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
Because that does take a lot of effort. And, man, dude, sometimes you just, hey, for real, not even joking around. Sometimes you just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
For real, just like sometimes I just don't want to do it. Like, because people get caught up in this. People, and I'm people. I get caught up in like celebrities or like people like creatives and like, oh man, they fucking miss the time frame and then forget that they're human beings and shit. And like regular shit happens, and their life is occurring. And
no doubt, you have to prioritize everything. I've gotten to the point where I write down what I'm going to do for that day, especially during the week with actual work. You know what I mean? That actually pays me.
Yeah.
Not the podcast. And then also, you know, I mean, I have a son, he's 5. I'm married, and there's a lot of things in life that you have to do as well. But I make sure I devote a certain amount of time to the podcast because I at the end of the day, that's what I want to do. I want to find a way to make money off of this and have this be my job or parlay into a job that I want rather than, you know what I'm saying, just being in tech the rest of my life.
Yeah, I get it, man. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I
continue. Continue.
I say all that to say, yeah, you can get burnt out, similar to what me and Steady did. But I see a different path with this than I did with rap. Just to be honest, you know what I mean? Of
course.
I loved doing that, but this, I really, really love doing it. And it's fun. And I love when someone says, oh, I like this part about that episode, or, oh, my friend put me on your episodes, or whatever it may be. You know, I listened because you had so-and-so on and I haven't stopped listening since. It's just cool, man. And I really, really do love it. And luckily I have a wife who understands that I love it, and, you know, grants me time and supports me in it as well. And, you know, like right now takes care of my son, you know what I'm saying? And he's a handful. You saw him, you know what I mean? You came over and saw how crazy he is.
Yeah, no, he's a fucking sweetheart.
Yeah.
But he is a handful.
Yeah. You know, he's 5. You know what I mean? But yeah, you have to prioritize everything and put the energy into what you want. And, you know, you have, I don't know if you've ever shared the news on here about your, okay. So you know, you have a child coming and things change, and everyone says that shit. It's going to be different. And you're like, before you have it, you're like, oh yeah, okay. But it's going to be different. And I can't thoroughly explain it to you until it happens. And then you're going to be like, all right, I get it.
Yeah. Keep going. Well, look, I gotta fucking check this because someone just called. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah, of course it's gonna change. I just don't know I don't know what that is yet. I don't know.
And again, I can't explain it to you until and when I don't know, man. Being a father is the coolest, most nerve-wracking, beautiful, scary shit you can do, and all in one package. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you, once you hear that first cry, as soon as that baby's born, it's going to be the most beautiful sound. You know what I mean? Better than any song you've ever made, better than anything you've ever heard. And you're never going to forget it. And everything you're going to do from that point forward is because of that kid. And that goes into why I do the podcast too, because I if anything, if nothing comes from this, if I don't make money off this, I don't get a job, I'm still in tech in 30 years, whatever. Jesus Christ, if that's the case.
Please don't put that into the fucking universe.
But my son will be able to go back and at least listen to this stuff or see it. But I want to make him proud that I was able to create something and make a living off of it for our family, for us, you know, and did it in a way where it wasn't like cheap and lame, like a lot of people get on because they put out content that's like stupid or crazy. I'm trying to just put stuff out where I'm highlighting people, having good conversations, talking about stuff that I love. But yeah, when you have that kid, bro, it's just...
I appreciate what you just said about, like, that you want to make your son proud. And, like, that's a big thing that's been tapping in for myself about anything that I do. Because I'm like, man, there's like, I just want him to know, like, that his dad is industrious, like, because he's going to end up, I mean, being somewhat similar no matter what.
Yep.
I mean, because my dad's the same way. My dad's always doing something,
Yeah.
you know, and I got that, from him. I didn't think watching my dad, I fucking hated going doing fucking construction I mean, it was like jobs that my dad would take because he is a master carpenter and he would work his regular job and then we would go with him and fucking build a deck. I mean, he would build a deck and we'd fucking bring him nails, you know?
Yeah.
And I just thought it was the worst thing ever, but he fucking loved it, you know? But at the same time, hindsight's 2020, I was like, damn, dude, like I think about it and I'm like, man, this guy was like the shit, man. This guy was like, he felt like he knew everyone. And I started appreciating that into my later teen years. And because of like how I saw how much different like volunteer activities I was even doing up to that point, like he was very instrumental in all that. So I'm getting to that. I want so like, even if, let's say that, actually, I'm not going to put this in the universe. Let's say when you make it.
Yeah.
For if it happens to be in 10 years or even 5 years or fucking tomorrow. When your son is like 10 years old, 12 years old, 15, all that. And he goes back and he starts listening for real. And I'm going to tell you why this. And I know that you'll feel the same thing. He's going to fucking feel proud as shit, and he's going to be able to tell his buddies, like, yeah, my fucking dad does this, da-da-da. And the reason why I say that is because I still brag that my dad won a fucking bowling tournament when in 1983.
Yeah.
And it was the only one he ever did. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, my dad bowled, dude. Like, he was the shit. Eh? And I still bowl with his ball.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. Pause. But no. As I'm holding it like this, hey, don't put your hand out like that, by the way. You could just say that fucking but like you're just proud of shit like that about your parents because like that's you know, that's your your fucking line. Yeah. So I want my I just want to show him, I just want to be able to show him like that same don't ever give up attitude and like the like good work ethic and lean into your creativity and just be you, son. Just be you, because dad's being him. Yeah. And I'm not going to let that be compromised, and I'm not going to compromise that for you, you know? So absolutely. Do you think that, did your dad or do anything like that you're still proud of him that he was like, dude, that was a blip on the fucking radar?
I just think about my dad and like how good of a father he was. Like my parents got divorced when I was like in first grade. Okay. Right. But my dad was always there. He didn't miss anything. He was, and he had moved out to, it's not far by any means, but he worked out at the Tooele Army Depot. And so he moved out there just because it was closer to stay out there, but he never missed anything, man. And I can't imagine how hard that would be, like to not be with your son all the time. Like I can't imagine not being with my son. You know what I mean? But when I was with him, he made sure like we were having a fun time. We did whatever, video games, Barbie, like it was simple stuff, right? He didn't have a ton of money, but he always made sure like I had a fun time. I loved being with him. He taught me a lot. And he still does to this day. He teaches me a ton, but he just showed me how to be a good father. And I think that's what I'm most proud of him about. He did a lot of funny and cool shit. He introduced me to all kinds of music that I still love to this day. Again, those 400 vinyls he had given me, but even just stuff he was playing in the house. But as I get older, I just think like, man, he was a good fucking dad, and again, still is. And it's funny now when he comes out, us being the ages we are, he's 69 years old now.
Same with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll just tell me stories. And I love those moments. Like stories of him going to a concert in 1972 and paid $5 or $3 to see the Who, you know what I mean? Or whatever it may be, the Guess Who. And all the shit he used to get into as a young, him.
Yeah.
And it's like, as a kid, you never think about your parents doing crazy shit. and the stories he tells, the stories he shares, and the memory he has for stuff when he was younger, it's crazy. But yeah, I think the thing, again, I'm most proud about him is just how good of a dad he was and is.
Dude, see, like my son's not. I think about that too. Like when my dad says crazy shit, he is definitely not said everything either.
Oh no,
yeah, dude, there's some. Dive into that. A little bit.
Sometimes my dad will let something slip. He was here just recently for my son's birthday, and me, him, and my older brother went to lunch, and we had a couple of beers, and he said something about an old neighbor lady, and I like that lived next to him and my mom before I was born. And I was like, say that again?
Hey, run that back?
She did what?
Hey, run that back?
Not like it matters. I mean, they're divorced, what I'm saying?
Yeah. And she was bad, dude. Fuck.
That's pretty much what it boiled down to.
The way she looked up, What'd you say? What'd you say?
At the sun or what?
What
are you talking about?
Nah, you know what I mean. Holy shit. Yeah, so how important is it, because you spoke about this. You spoke about how you want to like make sure to stay consistent, and the content is as much of a variable as possible to stay interesting and to keep your creative juice flowing. What is your message behind the old adage of do your best even when no one's looking?
For me, again, it just goes back to you don't know who's listening. You don't know what episode could fall into somebody's hands and someone says, hey, check this out. And that's the one they listen to. That's what they judge you off of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like everything I put out has to, I have to feel good about it. And if I don't, I haven't yet. I'm just going to be real. If I don't like something, I'll stay up late and re-record it or edit it or do whatever I need to do. But I can't imagine not being in a room and you're being judged off of something you put out, and you put out something that you didn't put your all into. And that's what they hear or that's what they see. No, we're going to pass on that. You know what I mean? Because that's your chance.
Yeah. So you're saying don't squander the opportunity. Don't. Yes, go for it. It's good to plan though a little bit.
Oh,
of course.
Yeah, I have just in my.
Would you say episode? Let me say this as a caveat. Episode 1 compared to episode 118.
Oh. Episode 1 was just me not 100% knowing.
No. Hold on.
Okay.
Episode 1 to episode 118. Would you be comfortable playing episode 1 in front of a boardroom as much as you'd be comfortable with playing 118?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to go back to my point then, and I want you to lean into this, is that we go back to like the just do it piece. How important is it to, after that just do it piece, to actively, you mentioned it, how much do you love this? Do you love it? Is it like, do you care that it gets better? How active have you been? And it goes back to my initial question. How active you've been in your love for this and to get to a place where it's better, and to, at this point, you're at a different level where now the focus is, if someone hears this, I want to make sure that it's quality material. When at episode 1, you were like, dude, I just want to get this off the ground. It's a different energy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what my question is. How important is that piece to just continue to do the best you can even when no one's looking?
Think about any basketball player we idolized. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, whatever.
Emerson Kennedy just called me, by the way.
Oh.
Keep going.
Think about how much work they put in constantly to be where they are, where we know them, what we know them for. Like going back to, do you love it? Do you want this? I constantly work at it, constantly try to come up with different ideas. I go on different shows to try to sharpen my skills and just having conversation, trying to stay sharp, really. You know what I mean? Because if I'm just sitting there in my studio office and I'm recording and I'm only talking to myself, people don't want to listen to that unless I can make it conversational. There's a lot of great people out there, guys that I listen to all the time, that are really, really great in what they do solo, because it feels like you're sitting there with them on the couch bullshitting about sports or whatever it may be. I think you always have to practice, always consistently have to get better in what you're doing. And I mean, that first episode, it was wanting to be able to just get going because you told me to just do it.
Because you're supposed to.
Exactly. You have to. There's always a starting point. Kobe Bryant wasn't Kobe Bryant when he was 6 years old, you know what I mean? Or whatever it may be when he started hooping. We all know Michael Jordan's story. We all know the different athletes that Giannis, guys who now run the league. When they first started, they couldn't do it. Like, they weren't good at playing basketball. A lot of MCs aren't good when they first start rapping. And if they say they were, they're full of shit. DJs weren't good. I was ass when I first started DJing.
Still are.
I knew.
I fucking knew it. I knew it.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to be motivational.
No, keep going.
Shit, no. But no. You're never. You need to constantly work on your craft, constantly get better. Know that you have an end goal in sight, and work towards that. Now, that end goal might change. You might reach that end goal at some point and be like, I think I can do more, or I can branch out into this or that. But you just try to stay on your game. I used to growing up playing ball, you go to practice. You practice. Why are we practicing? Why are we going through this fucking play for the 38th time? To get you prepared for when it does happen, you already know what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. No, so I wanted to get to the main point, and you just hit it, and I want to fucking lay it out to easily play a foundation. Is that there is always another. So progress is the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Progress is the goal. Progress is the goal. Let's not ever lose sight that progress is the goal.
It's a hell of a snap, by the way.
Yeah, that is a fucking crazy snap.
Picture came off the wall, but
yeah, that is a crazy snap. Right? So when it doesn't matter which level you're at. The point is progress, and so progress looks different at different levels. And so the level that you're at right now, it's incredible to see what your next benchmark is. Yeah. Because at episode 1, your benchmark was like, oh, fuck, let's get to episode 5. Yeah. Honestly, for real. Like, do I like it? You know, all that shit. Now you're at 118. You're like, cool. I'm like sitting down now. I'm actually in this. I'm riding the wave. All right, let's try this. Yeah. Let's try that. Let's try this. But the point is progress.
Yep.
So if there's anything that you guys have taken from this whole podcast, it's obviously my respect level for what Will Wonder does, and our history and friendship runs deeper than any sort of podcast and all that. I've been a big time supporter of his for such a long time, and I'm so happy to have you on this part of the Short Story Bingo.
For sure.
Because I've been doing this for a while, like not just Short Story Bingo, but I did Synchro's Pod Show.
Right.
I was doing fucking podcasts back in 2014 and just didn't stay consistent. But it was like something I was like, man, I want to fucking do that before everyone else does. At least in like our little hip hop community, you know?
Yeah. And
I'd say I at least have like, I at least started before 10 other people, you know? And the point, thank you so much for stopping by, man.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Is there what would you like to tell people out there, like, about after, and then give your socials and stuff like that too, but just like a parting message before we do a part 2, because we only touched on this. We haven't even touched on a bunch of other shit.
Right. I mean, I think just the thing that I love about this is, like you just said, we're really good friends despite podcasting, despite music. I mean, hip hop brought us together, and that's one reason I celebrate hip hop so much, is because it's granted me so many great relationships in life, long lasting friends, lifelong friends. You know what I mean? But I would say if you take anything from this, it's just to be focused on what you want to do. If you don't feel like you're in the right space, or you're trying to tweak things, or it's like, I don't know if this feels like I should do this, but you truly have a love for it and a passion and you want to do it, then like my guy said on the fucking Lake Talk 801, just do it. Just put it out there, let it live. You can change things up. You can, maybe it doesn't work and you want to do something else. That's fine, but you never know if you don't fucking try it. So just, in the words of my guy Gabino, I think he said, just fucking do it, dog. Just do it, dog. Just fucking do it, dog.
Fucking do it, eh?
But yeah, that would be it, man. Like, thank you for having me. I'm a fan of yours too, as you know, on all levels, your podcasting, your music, what you're doing with Mike Masters. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's great for the city as well. And as much as you don't want to be, you are an OG to a lot of these guys, you know what I mean? And it's dope to see the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing Jay Villain. I love seeing Glocko. I love seeing these guys and how much they love doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels like us, and not even just with battle rap, just everything, music.
They got a lot going on.
Yeah. And it just feels like us back then. And I love seeing that, and I love that you're a part of it and you're able to kind of show them maybe mistakes that you've made, right? Things that you would have done differently, but also help elevate them, especially with Mike Masters. I'm very proud of you for bringing that back, doing it, and bro, it feels big. You know what I mean? It just feels huge, and
it's because it is.
Yeah, I want to keep supporting you through that, and I'm excited to see where you go with it. Again, things will change once your little man gets here, and it all goes to prioritizing what you need to do, working on shit when the baby's sleeping, because it's a wild time when you have that baby, and obviously, you take some time off with your child because you don't get that time back. And it goes so fucking quick. My dad used to say that shit all the time. Time goes fast. And then when I had my son, like, I can't believe he's 5. You know what I mean? It's weird. So make sure you take in those moments with your child. Make sure you're there for your child. Obviously, you have my support. If you need help with anything that I can help with, I'm always here. But yeah, I don't know. I went on a whole little like side tangent there, but man, I just appreciate this. I had fun. We'll do it part 2 at some point. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And socials.
At the Will Wonder Pod on Instagram, at DJ Will Wonder on Twitter, YouTube. Please, hey, listen.
Yeah, get in there, dude. Get in there, dude.
There's one fucking thing you do,
dude. Get in there, dude.
If you enjoyed my banter with my friend Gabino, Nate, Synchro, whatever the fuck his name is.
Dude, I have a good name, dude.
The Will Wonder Pod on YouTube. Subscribe. I have a lot of really fun interviews with interesting people in Salt Lake City that are doing stuff that it's just they're gonna blow up. They're gonna leave here. And I would love for you to say, oh, I heard about them first on the Will Wonder Pod. Obviously, when my guy, Nate Gabino Synchro, comes on, awesome. You already know about him. When he joins the podcast, when I interview him. Anyways, the Will Wonder Pod on YouTube, at the Will Wonder Pod on Instagram, and DJ Will Wonder on Twitter. That's all I got.
Bang, man. Fuck, dude. My guy.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
The jersey swap.
Yeah.
So this is shout out to Joe Baca.
Shout out to Joe Baca.
For real. Yeah. Lump sum. I mean, it's all hip hop, man. Yeah. Again, special relationships.
I actually have. Yeah, I have. This is gonna be my second one.
Well, you have the one with this
on the front. Yeah.
The front. Yeah. Yep. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Just one more time. I like this joint right here on the. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Got the hoodies too. I should have worn my hoodie, but you know what I mean. thought I'd do something a little different. I'm always in my own stuff, and I was
Too.
like, well, take a break.
Yeah, me too. I'm wearing the Marv 1 hat because he was just out here too for the warm-up. 3 just battled disaster. Guys, what the fuck are you doing? If you like battle rap, you should get this pay-per-view for
Even
real.
if you don't like battle rap.
if you don't like
It was fucking great.
Yeah. Didn't the B&R guys kill it?
They did great. Yeah. The one thing I said to Beefy, because we worked out the next day, I was like, could you not read what I was writing? Because, I took shots at Beefy like I did.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was like, no, I couldn't. It was just Alice. Okay, well, let's work on that next time.
Yeah, we're gonna work on a couple different things, but I thought that they fucking knocked it out.
No, they
of the
did a
park.
great job.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not mad at doing like a 4-panel. I've been asking Dre if he wanted to fucking do that, and I think we talked about it.
Yeah. I mean, Dre has 4 jobs, 3 podcasts.
No, he's of course no.
Shout out to Dre.
Shout out to Dre Rocco. Well, you might be able to help out with sometime on the commentator show. But it's in good hands with the Bins and Rice podcast. Yes. Short Story Bingo, episode 16. My name is Nate Chacon III with my boy Will Wonder. Thank you guys for so much support. And that's how we're ending it. Peace.
Dun, dun. Spare fingers. Cheers.